up, ultra happy people? My name is Tania. I am your host, ultra runner and coach, and your magnificent co-host, Andy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for introducing me again. How are you? How was your run outside? I've seen you went out on your own.
Done many runs outside.
On your own?
Week. No, I was sure I'd done my 10k from here to Kite Beach.
Yeah.
And I also went out today and done just over 5k. Just want to get out since it's not too
feels pretty hot
it's
though.
30 degrees still,
hot,
but
yeah,
it's getting out and running and the sun and getting a tan.
I love you getting like a little bit like more embracing a little bit, feeling uncomfortable for a bit, because I know you were like, I want to build first the fitness and then kind of like get the next step, which is getting to the heat and being uncomfortable in that, which I think it was a very smart way to do it, because if you are a new runner, you don't want to probably, like push it to like go too wild and
put yourself off.
Yeah, exactly. And then just kind of drop out because you're like, oh, this is too hard. This is too difficult.
Yeah.
To be honest, probably that's what I did when I started running. And that's why there is a big gap from where I started to where I really like enjoyed it, I'm going to say. And
I think when you've done the 12-hour run, obviously I've ran outside a few times and that in the past, but when you've done the outdoor 12-hour run, and I done that bit with you at the end, I kind of just thought to myself that, not that I particularly want to run outside, but I need to run outside.
Yeah.
I can't spend my days every day on a treadmill.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a bit of a progression in the fact that I'm still not dismissing the treadmill because I enjoy it and enjoy watching my documentaries, but you need to get outside and run as well. You need to do a bit of both, I think.
Definitely.
Well, I do anyway.
I definitely. But it's good. You're doing the right thing. And guys, I think this may be our last episode of the season.
It's been quick again, isn't it?
It was so fast. I am struggling to keep up. And it's because we had, it's 5 episodes. So we have 5-6 weeks between. And I am traveling next week and Saturday next week I'll be traveling, so I do not want to have anything to do that week. So that's why I think this is going to be our last episode, as we are gearing up for Antarctica. And so we're going to dive really fast.
Dive.
Go into what is happening in the next weeks. Where am I going? And I will be away, I think, 3 weeks. I don't know what you're going to do on that time. Please just
relax in the quietness of home without the madness.
But don't worry, I'll have some homework for you.
Oh, as always,
for everyone.
I know.
No, for everyone as well.
Plus, I'm social media manager, so that keeps me busy.
Oh yeah, that's true. Your social media manager is back. But yeah, let's start with our usual facts by Andy. Your favorite of all times. I hope you have fun ones today.
And
it's the last one, so you better close with a good fact.
And in the spirit of me running in the warm weather and getting out there and testing myself, my facts are actually about running in the cold weather.
Oh,
because you're going to Antarctica and going to freeze.
Yeah, I'm going to freeze. That's nice.
And today, I've got 6.
Oh my God.
But these are quick. They're quick. It's a quick 6, okay? So in the spirit of you going to Antarctica, we've 6 science-backed, always science-backed now, by the way, insights about running in cold or extreme weather.
Oh.
Are you ready?
Yes.
So
That's
did you
what
know cold burns more fat?
Guys, this may be our chance to lose like the 5 kilos I've been carrying over.
So, running in cold weather activates brown fat, a type of fat that burns calories to produce heat rather than storing energy like white fat. This shift helps burn more calories and may aid in weight management. Dr. Joshua Blomingeren, I don't think I said that right, from Midwest Orthopedics at Rush, noted that this effect makes winter running potentially beneficial for weight control.
I did know that a little bit. Yeah, definitely keeping yourself warm burns fat a little bit more just because you're overworking.
Say that again. No, cold.
Sorry, yeah, cold. Because your body's trying to keep warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a different type of fat that it burns. I didn't even know there was such a thing as brown fat. But
That would be
there you
interesting
go.
to dig into that. When I was running in Scotland, I did notice that definitely I lost a lot of weight or a little bit more weight, or it was easier to lose it because my runs were usually outside, and also my my count was way higher than when I go out here. Definitely.
Well, this is kind of what you're talking about there, about improved metabolic efficiency. So this is number 2. When you exercise in colder temperatures, your body increases its energy expenditure to maintain warmth. This increased metabolic activity helps prevent the typical winter slowdown, which can be beneficial for those looking to maintain or even boost their fitness levels during the colder months.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's winter in most of the places, I guess.
It's winter in Dubai, but it doesn't work here.
Yeah, doesn't count here. But I know a lot of my athletes, or a couple of my athletes that are in the States and even in Scotland, they get hit pretty hard with winter.
Yeah.
And even getting out there. Despite the physical challenges, mentally as well is quite challenging. I've been there and it is a struggle just to get out the door. But if you think that there is going to be a second benefit from going out, maybe that'll help you out to feel a little bit motivated to go out. I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe yes. It kept me motivated once in a while. I was like, I'm going to burn twice as much fat if I go out right now. Let's go and do it.
Well, this next one is quite an interesting one because I actually thought it was a wee bit of the opposite. So, 3.
Okay.
Cold reduces strain on the cardiovascular system.
Yeah.
So, compared to warm weather running, cold weather puts less strain on your cardiovascular system. Heat increases the workload on the heart and lungs, while cold allows you to maintain lower exertion levels at a given pace. This effect is due to a lower risk of overheating and dehydration in cold conditions.
And that's why you can go probably faster when it's a little bit colder or fresh. It's like you did a fact by Andy previous week. They were saying that the good weather to run, or the perfect weather, is like 4 or 6 temperature.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
That is cold, really, if you're not moving.
Yeah, but
if you're moving,
but from a cardiovascular system,
so you can go faster.
I thought that, because if you think about it, I think it's harder to breathe in really cold weather than it is to breathe in really warm weather.
Maybe breathing, but the effort feels easier. So definitely, that's why it's probably a good temperature to go.
But I think that fact before about the certain temperature. There's a perfect temperature to run in where everything's all working in sync.
Yeah, it's better because of the overheating. So you don't overheat.
I just think in my experience, it's been harder to breathe in cold weather, which is why I thought it was strange.
I think it was hard to breathe for you in the cold weather because back then you weren't as fit as you are now.
That's a good point.
If you go back right now and test your fitness in, let's say, running in Glasgow, I think you would have a different experience.
Yeah. No, that's probably true. I didn't think of that. Good point. Well done. Well made. Well made. Number 4, risk of muscle performance decrease. Cold weather can reduce muscle efficiency, especially if not warmed up adequately. Low temperatures cause muscles to contract less powerfully and decrease blood flow, which can lead to slower pace or higher injury risk if muscles are not warmed up. A proper dynamic warm-up is essential to counteract these effects.
That's interesting. I am going to say that I'm very guilty of not warming up. I am a coach and I always send to my athletes like, warm up, cool down. But I'm the one of those they never do that. But that's good you're telling me, because now in Antarctica, it's going to be very important to warm up because, it's true that you warm up to start getting your muscles activated and warm and, which in the other deserts was not a problem because it was already warm and that definitely helps. But in this, because all your body is going to be contracted because it's, tense because it's cold, it's going to be a good point that I'm going to have some sort of warm up in on hand. That's a very good point. I will work on that.
Good job. Okay, number 5, temperature affects VO2 max.
Oh, I'm going to talk about VO2 max today.
Oh, are you?
Look at that.
Well, I'm going to explain what it is as well. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
so studies show that VO2 max, a measure of cardiovascular endurance.
That's great that you're saying that. Yeah.
Decreases as temperatures drop.
Yeah.
Meaning runners may experience more difficulty at colder temperatures, especially below 10 degrees.
Uh-oh.
This is partially because the cold affects blood flow and oxygen efficiency, which impacts endurance capacity.
So what do you mean?
So what's going to happen is when the colder it gets, the cold is going to affect how your blood flows
So
through
I'm
your
going to
body.
be slower
So you're going to be slower.
because my body is probably working to
and
get
it's not working your oxygen properly through your body. Which is why, going back to that point when I was saying about improved metabolic efficiency, I was a bit surprised, but actually they're two different things.
Yeah, because one is, metabolic efficiency and VO2 max are different, two different things. VO2 max is like your motor, right?
Yep.
Like the motor that you have, like a car.
Yeah.
So in cold temperatures, I guess extreme cold, because 6 degrees, like we were saying, is probably the good standard, like your motor is going to be good and it can run well, but extreme, this one's extreme, right?
Yeah.
Below 10.
Below 10.
That's definitely, it will have the contrary benefit. Like it will be the opposite.
This is just a snapshot of the point that I was taking, right? When I was reading about the VO2 max and temperature. But there are also studies to show that what happens if you do breathing exercises over a long period of time. No, what you do is you do breathing exercises over a long period of time. So say you've been doing them for months, that actually when you go out to run and you go out to run in these colder weathers, then what you're doing is your breathing exercises and your mental capacity take over and you start to breathe better, which helps improve your VO2 max.
I did know breathing has like amazing benefits. So it could be that we should do something about breathing, like a chat. About breathing.
Yeah,
we know someone is about breathing and all that, breath works and all that. Yeah, that would be interesting, guys. It's something that we should tap into.
Yeah. Okay, and the 6th one, which I'll leave you with this one.
Oh God, okay.
Is number 6, third man syndrome.
What?
Okay. An eerie aspect of running in extreme cold is the third man factor. A psychological phenomenon
What is it?
Often reported by explorers and extreme athletes who experience a strange sensation of a phantom presence when isolated under extreme duress. This phenomenon has been noted during Antarctic expeditions, as well as athletes running in prolonged periods, adding a psychological layer of fear to the physical challenges faced by those running or trekking in such extreme environments.
That is very weird, because I felt it once in the West Highland Way when I was doing my long camp before I left Scotland. I did a 3-day, and then that day that it was very, very long, that I had a massive like cold monsoon over me, and I was so cold. I got even like burned of the cold. I was thinking there was someone behind me all the time, and there was no one, and I always thought, maybe because I was wearing 10 layers of stuff, so I thought, the layers are making noise, so that's what I thought. It's just the noise, the extra noise of everything rubbing, but I was always like looking around to see if someone's coming.
But I mean, it's a documented phenomenon, the third man syndrome, or third man factor, that in extreme cold conditions, you can feel like there's somebody with you that's not there.
And probably not only once. I felt it a couple of times. Or maybe it's just because also I usually used to go to places that were very empty and very... So there's always I mean, as a woman as well, you are always kind of like looking around.
Yeah.
Always, anyways. But
That's mental.
that was interesting.
Yeah.
I
And just,
wonder why. Is it like a psychological
I don't know. Do you know
response of your body?
It didn't go into it because actually it doesn't well, the study that I read doesn't actually understand it. Because what's happened is there's so many people reported it, like there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people reported it. And they've done studies and different things where people have been out running over certain periods of time in extreme cold weather. And practically all of them come back and say, especially if you're out there running on your own, that you feel like someone's with you running. So when I read about it, they were saying it could be the fact that the from the brain factor, that it's got so cold and it's dipping below a certain temperature, and that can have an impact on how your thoughts process. But also, they don't know why.
Maybe it's like a cope mechanism. I always thought it that way, that not to feel alone. My brain was kind of like making up, or
It might not affect you too much because you'll be running with
people. Yeah, and there's
but
always gonna
certainly,
be
yeah. I mean, it's not in the study that I was reading about, and like I say, that's
this will
only
be
a small
useful
part.
for all our people, all our friends in Scotland, and
Yeah,
go
yeah,
out
yeah.
in winter months to go and run by themselves. I was one of them, and yeah.
But in the study I was reading, it's not specifically only, although it happens to them, it happens mostly to people that are running themselves.
Yeah.
You can still feel it down to when you're running in these extreme cold
Yeah.
temperatures. But one other thing that's not an handy fact is that when you are running in especially 10 degrees or below, which you are going to be doing,
Yeah.
is they make such a massive point about making sure that your skin is moisturised, and none of your skin is showing because you will get burned.
Well, in that particular occasion, or many occasions I ran in Scotland, nothing was showing, and I still got cold burned.
Yeah.
How's that?
And everything I was reading, right, about it.
I don't know how the cold went through.
They were always talking about things like frostbite and how simple it is to get it.
Oh, it's
and
so
you don't, and I think it's something that people think, oh, you need to be in the cold for a long time to get. You don't. You actually, you can get frostbite if you are exposed. You know what I mean? For a period of time. So you need to be careful.
I'm taking all my stuff.
Yeah, that's why that'll be why you're asked to take when you come to the glove side of things, you're asked to take an outer glove and an inner glove.
Yeah,
So that
like
what happens is so that you can
liners
take
go.
yep. So what happens is you'll take your glove off, but you're still covered. Mm-hmm. So that what happens is you're not being exposed to any of that extreme cold.
Yeah. We'll go through a little bit of the equipment, which it will make sense why that point is so important. But yeah, just following on that chat, we are a week away now.
A week away to leaving.
To leaving only to trek, fly, crawl 35 hours with all my 50 point of mandatory equipment.
Is it 50?
Yes. Across
I mean, I know it's cost us a fortune right enough.
the world. No, I will show you guys the door of the flat of the house a couple of times because it got like full of packages because I had to order so much stuff. But 50 items, that's only your mandatory equipment. And plus, obviously, I'm bringing a couple of extra things that are not mandatory, but it's just to alleviate, like Andy was saying, just to keep myself warm. That I've never used, but I mean, it's like the warm hand things.
The irony is we live in Dubai now. So
It's so hard to find
anything that you need for Antarctica, it's so hard to find, but two, is never going to be used again.
Never. That's the other thing.
If you were living in Scotland, you would think, okay, I'll probably use some of that because we'll go hiking or trekking or something. You know.
I was chatting with the group that was going to Antarctica, and we were saying that we should. I think I don't know if the race organizers have this Facebook group organized, but I feel like we should open a Facebook group, not only for this race, but if you're, anyone doing these races later or are interested or whatever, have this and then we can swap or sell gear. I mean, to be honest, there's going to be
brilliant idea.
I bought 2 pairs of new Gore-Tex shoes that will never be worn again. And I mean, it can be very useful for someone that wants to do this. Jackets as well, super bulky pants.
To be fair, those Nike Gore-Tex trainers that you bought, I might try and squeeze into when you come back. I love them.
And so there's like a lot of equipment that, yeah, like you said, is never going to be worn. So I
Yeah.
feel like we should create something that is like a swap. Even it doesn't need to be Antarctica, but if anyone wants those kind of shoes, like a gear swap or something, people, which I just feel so bad knowing that all this gear is going to end up in, never worn again. And it's just such a waste. And yeah, anyway, that's something to write down as well. As in a $1 million idea.
We actually,
Bucket.
this is on topic, off topic, but we actually watched a documentary during the week, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shackleton.
Shackleton.
Guys, go and look for that documentary in National Geographic.
Yeah.
Now.
It's about Shackleton's journey to get to Antarctica and cross Antarctica, and why it's relevant but not relevant is it kind of makes you understand what Antarctica is like, how cold it can be, but also for me the endurance side of it, of what those guys and what that team had to endure to
They
stay
endured
alive.
for how many? Like
2 years.
2 years. So if
2 years.
and that was like in the freaking 1900s.
Don't spoil it for people to.
No, like when was that? Like it was back in the day, like very old.
Yeah.
So if they were able to survive 2 years with like zero Gore-Tex shoes,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I will survive for a week.
It's called Explorer, I think, isn't it? Explorer?
Endure.
Endure. It's called Endure.
Endurance.
But
Endure.
just when you say there about the Gore-Tex, they didn't have that. But do you know what they were wearing, in particular Shackleton?
What?
He was wearing Burberry.
Is it?
Yeah, he's wearing Burberry ski gear.
So he was very fancy.
Not ski gear, but sort of, like...
Well, probably was not
trekking
fancy
gear and all
back
that.
in the day, but...
Yeah, I know. But that was just the best at the time for that kind of weather. Crazy,
But I mean, they survived 2 years with like, eating their dogs. They're eating the dogs.
It's not...
Oh no!
Stop
I'm
spoiling it.
Well, what the point that I wanted to make, guys, is that they survived these many years with like seriously almost nothing. And I'm pretty sure that I am gonna survive 6 days with all the luxury life of being in the boat. So, but yeah, I was gonna walk you through how we're gonna get there first. So I'm gonna cross because Sandy's staying. So I'm gonna cross Turkey and then Spain.
By cross, we mean fly into.
Yeah, I'm not running. I should probably say that because then people are... me and my 50-kilo bag. It's not 50 kilo. I don't know yet, but it's 50 items.
Probably
And
100 kilo.
across, we fly across Dubai, Turkey, Spain, Buenos Aires, Ushuaia. So like I said, that is going to be around 37 hours, just the trip. And to join we are 57 competitors into this experience of a lifetime. And yeah, we get to Ushuaia. Like I said, I get usually 1 day before. The day after, we have our normal gear check. That is going to be quite nerve-wracking because it's very different. So I am hoping I have all the items again. I think they're saying that if you miss an item, there is a lot of shops around. So that wouldn't be a worrisome. But still, it's very stressful to suddenly you're getting your gear checked and you're missing something and you see people panicking and running out the hotel trying to find it. That has happened in the other ones, obviously. So in this one, I don't want to...
I guess it's like going to a beach town. When you go to a beach, there's going to be a shop there that sells swim shorts and a bucket and spades.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to somewhere like Antarctic, there's going to be somewhere there that's going to have a ski jacket.
There is millions of places in there. So that one's that's good.
Yeah.
For example, Namibia was difficult because there was no...
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and there was literally nothing. Gobi was even worse. So this one is a little bit like the guy from Gobi, just the guy that lost or forgot his shoes, his trainers. He was able to find fake Nikes. So, it was not a place to forget something. In this one, I could forget something, but again, I don't want to be in that stressful moment because it's quite, yeah, you don't want to be panicking and running around the town. So yeah, I hope I don't forget anything. And that day, so they gear check us. And then after that, we take the boat, the expedition boat. So it's not like a fancy cruise. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. I know it's an expedition cruise.
Have you ever been on like a boat that is not like a cruise ship? It's like a proper sea boat. Have you ever been on one before?
I don't think so. I've been in a cruise.
It's not good.
Clearly.
And I was in decent waters.
Exactly. That's what I'm very, very scared of.
Actually, funny. Tanya the other day gets a package at the door.
Oh, hold on. That's part of my kit.
Oh, wait. In fact, you know what? We should really have these things here to show you because they're hilarious.
Do you guys want me to bring? I'll show you if you're watching.
We'll stick an image up here so you can see them.
I look super cool.
She does not look cool.
So we get to the boat, and again, it's an expedition boat, so it's not a fancy cruise. And we are 2 days to take that journey towards Antarctica, and we'll be crossing the most dangerous waters in the planet. And it's called Drake Pass, the one that is like extremely dangerous. And there has been like hundreds of boats gone missing there. Thousands of people have never got out of that.
It's a bit of an exaggeration
pass.
To people, but
there is thousands.
It is 200. It is 200 boats that have went missing on radar
and never survived.
80 years.
So, yeah.
Or it's 80 and 200 years.
I feel like I should get my wheel on place and everything for this one, particularly. And we've been told I have a friend that had already done this trip, and a couple of people, obviously, and that have shared their experience in the Facebook groups and the chats and all that. And they've said that it's a quite tough ride down there. Like you were saying, it's not like a tiny boat, it's a quite big boat, but it's gonna be very rough waters. So they're saying that, yeah, definitely expect some seasickness, motion sickness. And I am actually I've only traveled through when I moved to Glasgow, when I did the tiny ferry crossing. I thought I was not going to make it alive. I was having a really rough time. And that was a tiny ferry in like calm water. So that's when I realized that I may have trouble with this. So yeah, I have prepared myself with a lot of nausea and seasickness pills, patches, and the thing that Andy was saying, my funny glasses. I'll put a picture right here because I look quite awesome. For the people listening, is one of those.
It's bizarre. They've got water in them.
Yeah.
So
you probably know which ones I'm talking about, you guys.
With the water.
You've seen them around. It's the ones that you usually put in the car. They sell them for like car travel. Like if you're traveling in the car and you feel, DC went on those kind of rides, and they're very common. You will know which ones we're talking about. It's just glasses that have water and they are like quite like rounded. And yeah, they move as you move, like the water moves inside the frame of the glass. So
one of the things that we'd read about the Drake Crossing in particular, it's where the two oceans meet, and because of the hot air and cold air, the sea is so predictable, and they can only tell the weather every 6 hours.
Yeah.
So they can't predict it too much in the future. So you could actually start your crossing it be kind of okay and everything's fine, and then 6 hours later you're hitting big waves. So while these boats are totally capable of taking these big waves, the difference is you're going from that normality.
That's why it's like rough, I guess.
And then it gets quite rough, and it's going from one to the other. I think it'll be hard to do.
Well, everyone, please just pray for me for those 2 days. Of course, for everyone making it out there. 1 and 2, that I don't have such a rough time. It's going to be quite interesting.
Do you know where you're landing? Do you know what part you're landing on?
No, like you said, it's very unpredictable. So that's another thing that we've been told during the race, that it's so unpredictable, the weather, that we don't really know until we're there. We don't even know which part of the island or Antarctica we are running in. We are told one night before or even the same morning sometimes. We don't know. And let's say the run, it's like I said before, it's usually loops because they cannot put us through through Antarctica, clearly. So they usually do loops, and that will depend in the weather. And let's say one day is scheduled for us to run 12 hours. And we can start running for hours in this loop. And if they see that weather is changing or there is something happening, we get pulled out and then driven or taken to another place. Or it's going to be a lot of uncertainty on that end.
I would say that you have to land on I'm sure it's called the Horn of Antarctica, which is the section that comes out, because that's the closest part to Ushuaia. But as well as that, there's a section just off that, which is just all ice. And what it does is it just continuously spins and drifts.
Oh, yeah, we've seen that as well in the documentary.
You've got to either be on the Horn or the right-hand side of it. So I would say you'll be around there, but...
The boat never anchors anywhere.
Yeah.
The boat gets out there. And then what we use to travel from the boat to land is like tiny boats called zodiacs that are the ones that are like they look like two floaties next to a boat. Have you seen them? Like there's like two floaties and there's a boat inside. So it's a zodiac. You probably see guys seen them.
So it's got a stability barriers.
Yes,
That's right.
yeah,
So it's a boat with
exactly.
stability barriers, right? Okay.
So that is the zodiacs, and we take those from the boat to
Do you have
inland.
to row them?
Eh?
Do you have to row them? Imagine you get there
No,
after
row them.
rowing, like, yeah.
No rowing them, but yeah, they said also that gets quite choppy and quite freezing cold because obviously you're going fast with, the speed and the wind. That a couple of people were saying that their experience, it was like the coldest part of the whole adventure was riding the zodiacs.
You're just sitting there.
Plus you're not doing anything. So actually we have one like full gear or kit that goes over our running clothes that is worn on the zodiacs. So you are taken out of the boat with these like 5 layers, and then you take that 2 layers off when you get inland. You put them in a waterproof bag that we have to be carrying. You can leave that sort of in the start finish in the loop.
Did the penguins look after it?
No, but there is a funny story that one of my friends were saying that they left bags in there, like in a checkpoint or just where all the bags were, and there were seals making the bags their home.
Oh,
So when they were about to leave, they're like, you cannot touch any animal that are around there. So they were like struggling to kind of like make them go because they were already very cozy with all the bags and everything.
that's actually another thing. I know we joked about it in the past about the Antarctic wildlife, but I didn't realise it was a YouTube video I was watching that it is so ready available. It's like the seals are just knocking about.
Knocking about, yeah.
The penguins are just knocking about.
I've seen
and
pictures.
Actually, there's some, right, that are domesticated. That what they'll do is there's areas like in Antarctic where they've got the scientific sites and all that. Some of them sit on the coast where the penguins and the seals and all that come up and they practically live with the people. It's because they feed them, you see.
Oh, yeah.
It's because they feed them and they've got a wee bit of shelter there and things like that. So they become a bit...
Well, we are like mega prohibited to give them food,
Yeah, absolutely.
to pet them, to
Absolutely.
have them close, to disrupt any of their environment or ecosystem. We are not allowed to bring any seeds, for example, into land. Obviously, no fruit, no plants either. And all the wrappers that we use, for example, gels, which we are not going to be able to carry, or if you're using bars or any kind of food, it has to be out of the wrapper. So I'll be carrying a Tupperware where you put all your food in the Tupperware, but no wrappers in inland. So that's also another challenge that I had to figure out. I haven't had to figure out what I'm going to bring because I haven't packed the food yet. But the things, the food or the snacks that you're going to be taking while you're running, that's what we are told. And also thinking about it has to be something that doesn't freeze.
Yeah.
Because they were saying, you know what, do you bring one of those granola bars and those get frozen like very hard. And if you're trying
I know what I'd be taking.
What?
Vodka. Vodka doesn't freeze.
Has high calorie.
High calorie
I'll
content.
keep you warm. Done.
Did you know it was made by potatoes?
Potatoes.
Yep. Vodka has, certain vodkas are made with potatoes. So there you go. You've got
So
all your
carbs.
nutrients.
Done.
And you always try to get me to eat my veggies, and I'm thinking to myself, I could just drink a bottle of vodka and that's
it. And I cannot listen to you anymore.
know.
You'll be even funnier.
I'll be even funnier. I'll be out for the count.
Yeah, maybe I should look into that.
Did anybody give you any tips on what sort of food you should
We
take?
have a chat group again, very useful, and we all been kind of like brainstorming there. And there's people that are very like in hand, kind of like gear trying everything. They put a couple of things already in the freezer and kind of like sending us a message about their findings. So yeah, findings were like granola bars don't work. What kind of gels do not freeze? All gels freeze eventually as well. So yeah, there's a couple of things. So it's great because they're, finding all these things. And one thing that I think is good, it's chocolate, which is something we haven't been able to take in other deserts because it would melt eventually. But in here, it's actually good because even if it freezes, you put it in your mouth and it will melt. So
Question.
Hand up. Yeah. Andy.
Can you not take like an insulation bag? So rather than thinking about the opposite way, you can take an insulation bag where you can put your things in.
That's what I'm thinking. So the Tupperware, obviously I have to, it's my idea, but I have to be ready that when I get there and I show them my idea, they are like, oh, you cannot do that. Right? So my idea is in the Tupperware, have one of those, the hand warmers that you have, and put it inside the Tupperware with a couple of food. And then just the heat of the hand warmer will keep eventually the plastic container
I'm talking
warm.
about something completely different. You can get things that are insulators, right? So what it is, it's the opposite of like a cool bag or an ice bag.
I know, but I cannot bring any plastic.
But it's not plastic. It's just like this bag. It's like a cloth bag, and it's whatever material it's made. It's got a kind of silver lining.
Like a Tupperware, and then
lunch
you put
bag.
it
in and you wrap it round.
Yeah,
Same
like
sort of idea.
Bag,
and you wrap it round.
I don't know if it's allowed. They were very, very pointy with their.
Well, I think somebody needs to speak to them.
We could try. We have a bag like that. We have a chatto bag like that.
So we do.
Yeah, we can try. I can bring it and see if it flies.
Yeah.
But again, just be, I don't know. A lot of people that are in the same chat are like the same like me. Obviously, we've never done it before, and we just have to go by the rules. So a lot of rules. We were sent like 9 PDFs of like 20 pages long of all the things that Also, the other thing that probably I haven't shared before the race, they said they are sent the profiles of the racers. Like I said, we have in this race, we are going to be 57 competitors. We're only 57. I think half of what we usually do. 100 and something. So we're only half of the people usually that we should go. And we get profiles of each one. So we get like I love that, a biography of each one. What have they done? Who are they? Where are they coming from? So it's really interesting to read them. I usually read them when I'm like on the plane, and it's kind of cool because you feel like almost you know them, and if you click with someone, like if someone has done, I don't know, something, or they are like dealing with, I don't know, raising funds for something, or they have something in common. When you meet them, you kind of like feel already like you know them a little bit. So it's a great idea, and you are able to write your own biography, by the way. So yeah, it's really cool to have that. And we were sent that with obviously a bunch of other requirements, like I was saying, equipment and all the things about the animals and all that. So a little bit about what animals are we expecting to see and what to do and what not to do. we can take pictures. It's a yes, but no flash, for example, and no loud noises. So no, like, it's not like no one was going to bring a speaker, right? But yeah, they just said loud, like no loud noises, like not screaming and things like that. Again, something like do not disrupt them in their environment. So that's also
Actually, it's the most protected place in the
super
world.
protected. Yep.
So it's only fair that you do that, and you don't want to break down that ecosystem in any way. And I think that we probably take for granted that the slightest thing that you could leave there could make a big impact.
Exactly.
And whether it be like a penguin, for example, eat a wrapper and it's poisonous and it could kill it or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's other factors,
Yeah.
but when it comes to the seeds and all that, all makes sense. But it's not necessarily things you think about when you think about going to Antarctica.
It's such a fragile, it's so extreme that it's so fragile.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just very important to keep it and protect it and all that. So,
And apparently, and you know, I'm documentary daft. That's where the aliens live. That's why it's so protected. Just saying, listen, I'm just telling you what the documentary told you. That there's areas, do you know there's areas in Antarctica that it's illegal to fly over? There was a guy that was
what if we can run over there?
Here's totally off topic, right? But there was a guy called Admiral Byrd, brilliant name, I love it, right? Who was sent by the States during the Second World War to go and look at the Antarctic area. And do you know that when he came back, he had said that he'd found a hole, massive hole in Antarctica that he could see things flying in and out of.
What?
Fact, it's a fact. You can go. His name's Admiral Byrd during the Second World War, and actually there was a race to conquer Antarctica and take over it.
Oh yeah.
By the Germans, the Americans, and the Russians. And it ended up they put it all to bed and decided not to do it anymore.
No, it's divided.
But aliens, check it out.
So I'll report back if I see anything weird out there. And a funny fact as well is that the place is divided by obviously each big country or that has a presence in Antarctica has kind of like an area of, you know, research and all that. So each area is works by the time zone of the country that is in that zone. So I don't know. I have the map and somewhere that I was like, yeah, like you, just kind of like seeing facts.
Love that.
And so if next to is like Spain and in Spain is 7 a.m., in that research center is 7 a.m., right? And in the
next one could be midnight.
Exactly. And it can be like, so it means that with one step, you can lose 10 hours or gain 10 or 5 hours.
Just thinking what the reason for that was. But I guess it's to do with being back home, because what they'll do is they will report via office hours and everything like that, right?
That is correct. So there is a lot of investigation and protected zones and all that. And so those run by the time.
Times of the year, there's literally only 3 hours daylight, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think there is no, like we're not going to get dark, I think.
You're not going to get dark, or it's not going to get light?
It's not going to get dark. Dark.
Okay.
So, yeah. Like I was looking some photos and it's like 12 p.m. and the sun is just up and it's like midday.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be interesting as well. We had that happen in Iceland a little bit when we went traveling. It was wild.
That was weird, wasn't it?
That was very wild. So, yeah, I am very excited to go on that adventure and share with you all when I'm back. That's going to be a really, really, really fun one. I feel like we've been bored so far with the deserts and hot.
Joe, the thing is it is going to be completely different, like you say.
This one is just...
but not even just completely different for racing the planet, completely different to anything you've done before.
Anything, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I think actually it will be an absolute test of your resilience in a completely different way, but similar. It'll be a test of your resilience, as in what you'll need to do is you'll need to come up mentally about how you're going to manage to get through these situations, because you're going to come up with challenges that you've not faced in the desert. Where it's going to be similar is you've already applied that mental resilience to something similar, but different.
It's just about what's going to happen, what is the thing that we're going to have to solve, and again, just be ready for whatever it comes.
You're more likely to get blisters there.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I was reading. You're more likely to get blisters in colder weather. It just didn't make the facts, did they? But you're more likely to get blisters in cold weather because what happens is your feet don't dry up
Yeah, no.
when you're out
Gonna
in the
get
cold.
probably
What they do is they get
trench
sweatier and they get
foot.
wetter. So if your socks and everything's not right, then you're more likely to rub, which means you're more likely to get.
I think the first day is going to be interesting.
And from your toes point of view, I'm full of facts today. And your toes, that actually the reason that toenails
That's why we have
fall
you
off,
here, so you get
the
me
reason
ready.
that your toenails fall off from running
Why?
is because you get blisters under your
Oh,
toenail.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and because you're more likely to get blisters there, you're more likely to lose toenails. So you need to be
I
careful
thought
with your
because they
toenails.
were going to get cold and frozen
No,
and fall
it's
off.
because you're more likely to get blisters, therefore you're more likely to
I think
get
the first day
loose
is going to be interesting. Like that will give me the cue. I have the idea of putting two socks, like one, like a liner sock, and then my sealskin socks, which I love and I like swear by them. I run many winter ultras in Scotland with those socks and not feeling cold at all. I mean, I don't know if that's going to work on -20. Which probably it was not far off in some parts of Scotland at some point though, because I went into really frozen bogs many times, and that winter ultra I went like all the way knee deep in frozen bogs, and I survived. My feet were I don't recall being cold, so we're gonna apply the same in this one, and then just kind of like pray again. I think the first day that when I really test out, we'll know if that's actually, and then just kind of like tweak from there. So I'm very excited to again try it out and then come back and let you all know what's going on, or if we like better the cold or we like better the heat. That we will discover when I come back. So when I come back, we're gonna have hopefully 4 medals hanging here, guys. We're making it. Like it's slowly but surely. It's been 8-9 months in the work, and I think the season of the podcast or my life, because I feel like it's kind of like each season is kind of like break out our life as well, was interesting. I was able to learn a lot in my aspects of running, training, and also my life. I hope we share the information that has helped you to improve, to inspire some of your journeys. Last season was a bit more about bringing you like maybe the motivational stories when we interviewed a couple of the racers and we heard those stories. They were so motivational. But this season, I was punch hard emotionally with the chatter news, for example, and then also physically and facing a really challenging race, which was Jordan. But I love, that's what exactly I think what I love about long distances, because they involve more than just fitness. And the longer the distance, the more things that can go wrong. But also the longer the distance, the more time you have to figure it out. When in short distances are great for testing your VO2 max and your fitness level and how hard can you go. But the longer distance, the more factors, again, that are involved. And that allows you to really test those parts of yourself. And so if you are a person that maybe genetically, like me, for example, don't have the output to be a fast runner, like my VO2 max is not really high. But you want to give it, you should give it a shot to long distances, because this is where the playing field kind of like evens out between everyone, because again it's about just more mental resilience, and that's we've discussed in this season. And it just tests you in your mental strength, your problem solving skills. I mean, I witnessed since in all of the races, pretty much in all the deserts, and I've shared with you before, that I've witnessed really fit people not finishing these kind of races. And not only the deserts, but even 100-milers or other races of long distance and endurance challenges, because again, it comes down to the mental skill, the mental resilience, rather than more than fitness. So I think people that do these sports, We know ourselves very good, very well, because we're pushed to face part of ourselves that not a lot of people go in there and discover. Like, then go and put themselves in big discomfort for long periods of time, being uncomfortable for hours, days. It takes a lot, not only physically, but mentally more so. And that's why I think it's so worth discovering that part of yourself. And it's not going to be easy, probably, because, for example, on my first try of my 100-miler, imagine if I would have said back in that, I don't know, I think it was like a couple of years ago when I tried out my first 100-miler and it didn't work out. And imagine if I thought back then, oh, I'm not made for long distances. This is not for me. I'm just going to quit. If I had just stopped, And to be honest, don't get me wrong, by the third try of my third, didn't finish DNF of my 100-miler attempt, I started to think that, to be honest. I was like, maybe I'm not made for this. But I am so happy and so proud that I didn't quit, and I just kept shooting my shot and just kept working on it. And even in this series, right, when I did my first race in the desert Namib, that I really took a beat down with the sand and the heat. It was my first time kind of like my body feeling that kind of environment. Imagine if I had said, oh, I'm not made for the heat. I'm not made for this long, days in the desert. So, but at that point, I've been long enough in the sport that I know that it's all about patience and believing in yourself. And it's not believing in the sense of like, oh, I'm going to go out there and win it. But maybe believing in that I am smart enough, or I have the toolkit, the mental toolkit enough to solve it, and allowing myself to experience it. And I know patience is not the fast, like I'm not the fastest perhaps, and it's going to go very slow, but that's what ultra running is. It's not about the person that wins those races. It's not always the fastest person in there. It's the person that was able to solve it better and more efficiently.
I think with you, and I would say with a lot of people, you've kind of hit it on the head to a certain extent with the way I think about it. But for you as well, I think that there's like, the endorphin side of it, and the fact that what happens is you get a buzz out of it. When you failed those 100-milers, it would have been easier for you to turn around and say, I'm not a long distance runner. However, I think with you, the challenge and that buzz that you get from it definitely drove you into doing other ones and getting there. Do you know what I mean? And you had, and if anything, I would say that you had patience. Yeah. You had patience to keep going back and trying it. And I think that one of the things I respect about you and a lot of people that go through these things and fail on distances and get back and do it, it's that resilience of, do you know what? I'm going to prove to myself I can do it. And I think that is very impressive. It's an impressive quality in anybody that does those things. But I think that there's definitely a buzz in it. There's got to be, and I've always stood by and said, I'm not doing that. I'm not bloody running 100 miles, do you know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be, because it's not something that I would necessarily get a buzz out of at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
I love that.
No, but the point is, for example,
but you get a buzz from a marathon, for example, right now. You would, because it's something that you think you will never be able to do. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even like when we'd done the outdoor run, the 10-kilometer one, and I just let you carry on and I ran behind you. I got a buzz out of that because it's the longest outdoor run I've done. Do you understand? Yeah. So what you're doing is you're just 100 steps ahead of me in terms of doing
but you
these
can
250 kilometres.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think everybody will get that endorphin release and the buzz out or whatever it is that they do. But like I say, I think it's the resilience and the sticking with it.
I think it's also something that is worth talking about now that I touched on it a little bit. It's about failing. I think the first time, maybe even probably the second time was really painful. Mentally, like obviously physically, I was in pain, but mentally, like just because I never failed a distance until that one. And because I was shooting my shot, right? I wanted to do 100 miles. And I think when you fail at something, is almost like you're looking for something, right? And then you found it because you found that you cannot get that, or it's not going to be as easy. So everyone that is going to look for their limit and they DNF, for example, instead of a failure, I think it's actually a win. You found it. You found something that is really challenging you. So if I see someone with a straight record of finishing all their races, I will be like, there's something there, like you're not pushing, you're not maybe, challenging enough yourself. When you show me a record of someone that has failed, that is massive respect, because that means that you were knocked down and then you had to get up. And that is a real winner. Like, you cannot win if you haven't failed.
If
Seriously.
you don't understand the value of failure, then you'll never understand the value of success. Because if you're continuously successful, then you don't really know what it means to be.
I could just be win.
You don't know how valuable it is. Yeah. You just think of it as an everyday thing.
I can just go every weekend and run 10K and even sign up for races and have thousands of medals that are going to be 10Ks. But how challenging is that in the ring, in the scale of difficulty? Probably not much anymore. So when you are out there and trying to shoot a shot that is really out of your reach, that's when. And then signing up, knowing that you may fail. And that is another thing that I have very much in me. When I sign up for something, I say I only sign up, or I only put my money into races or events that I know I'm not going to finish, or I cannot, like it's a possibility. I wouldn't, sign up again for things that I know I'm going to finish, because unless it's like a training race or training run, but like as a event, yeah. And I think that is something that has helped me to kind of focus and plan ahead. So that is sort of around what I wanted to invite you all while I'm gone to kind of think about what we just talked about today, about maybe shooting your shot, maybe, figuring out something that you find really out of your reach. Look at your face. It's already like, no, I'm not going to do that homework. And really think about something that is really out of your reach. And because I know it's like New Year is coming and everyone's going to start putting crazy goals out there, and everyone's going to be wild about new year, new me, but okay, going with that strength, let's really think about something that really challenges you, like something that is really out there. And I'm going to say a little tip that how I plan my year or my races, or how I stack the bricks, or how the bricks have been stacking these last couple of years, that were able to put me in this situation or in this place where I can shoot shots for like a longer, like a really big shots, right? So I think it was 5 years ago that I started to play this game with myself. In 1 year, I'm going to plan, I don't know. I began doing one ultra a year. And when I finished that year, I said, okay, it's like we're going to forget everything we did this year, and then what are we going to do next year? So I planned the next year saying, okay, if I did last year one ultra, I'm going to do 2 this year, right? So I worked towards that. Even if it was a DNF or a success, it doesn't matter. It's about putting the work, right? So that second year, I did 2 ultras. And then the third year, I was like, okay, I did 2 ultras. What can I do a little bit bigger, maybe, or more challenging this year? So that was the year that I did, for example, 5 ultras in 6 months, which it was a serial of races in the UK. So I focus all my energy, all my training in that year to achieve that goal. And then the following year, again, I said, okay, I did 5. Next, let's do another 100-miler. And that's when I tried out for the stage racing. That I did my first stage race, which was the Ultra X. So if you see a little bit, if you zoom out, maybe it started with a little bit, but each year by year, I have been able to stack not only the races, but the training that entails preparing yourself for each challenge. And if I shoot my shot of each challenge being a tiny bit, it doesn't need to be wild, from last year, those efforts really stack up. And when you look back, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe now I'm, 5 years later and I'm researching for a bigger challenge. So that's how I ended up here. And so far I've been 5 years winning with myself. And because at the end of the story, that's what really matters. And I just compare myself with myself for last year. And that's all that what should matter, because it doesn't matter about your neighbor or the person that next to you, or it's really being just a tiny bit better than you were. And I'm not going to say 1% better each day, because you've seen that saying that is like, oh, you need to be 1% better every day. That would be very difficult.
It also means when you get to 100 days, you're 100%. I don't think so.
Exactly. I don't understand that. So I think if you do it per year, also gives you a little bit more of leeway if something doesn't happen and doesn't work out. You're not gonna, put yourself down. You still have, like the time I did the NF 100-miler, but I said this is the year, so I had to find another 100-miler to make it out. So I had that flexibility. And at the end of the story, again, you stack all the bricks together, and it definitely starts making an impact, because you're working for your own, like you're working against, fighting against yourself from last year. So that's where I'm kind of leaving homework for everyone a little bit.
I don't understand what we're going to do.
You need to find Andrew, Jack, and everyone out there something that really challenges you for next year.
Okay.
Don't tell me a half marathon. That's not, at this point, you can run a half marathon. That's not, no, like a proper challenge. And then for the people out there that are not in the running world, or doesn't, it can be a triathlon. It can be something physical, but it can be also something that is not physical. What about opening a business? Or I want to maybe, I don't know, if you had a project out there, that also applies for goals that are not related to running. I'm just saying running because that's sort of what we're talking about here. But I think it can be very, very translated into just a normal life as well. So, do you understand your homework?
I think so.
Oh God, you look very scared. What about your first trail race?
I'm not a trail runner.
You don't want to do trail.
I'm not an ultra runner.
I'm not an ultra runner. I think
that's
we
my
should
mantra.
I was going to say, should we do t-shirts that say, I'm not an ultra runner?
Definitely. That should be it. I am not the ultra runner.
I know.
And then just a big finger pointing at you.
Yeah, I'm not an ultra runner. But yeah, I hope I made a little bit sense in all this with a little bit of my experience. And like I said, in the previous season, we motivated you. In this season, you've seen a little bit how to deal with the challenges. So it's, I think, time now for yourself to kind of put all those pieces together and figure out if you can do that for yourself now. And we put all my mental toolkit is out there. I've shared it with you all, so you guys can take whatever helps your journey, whatever doesn't help your journey. Everything is out there. There's no secrets here. I put open my heart, my mind, everything to you, and I hope it helps for anyone out there to create your really cool own journey.
Alternatively, contact www.reconnect Life coach Tania.
I'm not a life coach, but I'll tell you that what even Alex were saying, because she's the nutritionist coach, we do have to have some sort of a little bit of a coaching, life coaching side, because ultimately the body is so connected to the mind. And I have an athlete right now, for example, going through a rough time, and I even seen it myself when I was grieving with the chattel loss, and my athlete is grieving with the loss of a family member as well. And I'm not going to send you something crazy training if I know you're going through a rough time. So, and then all you have to do is support that person and know that everything's going to be okay. Like you're also that person. It's like a hairstylist as well. That you go and tell them your problem, where you sit down and you get pretty. I feel like we are all like, a good coach is always that supportive side. My coach is there as well, Sarah. I mean, Sarah is my rock as well. Like, if I have a problem or something, is someone that understands it, knows how to deal with it, and it's important. So yeah, so life coaching, next business for Tania. So, with that said, I hope everyone has your homework ready for next season, because I don't know if we will meet before New Year's. Hopefully, yes, because I'll come back, and I think I have 1 or 2 weeks before the
What
new
day are you
year.
back?
20 something.
23rd?
No,
So,
December 15th, 20. I don't even know, but yeah. So I'll be, and then it's gonna be holidays, and we're gonna be probably running around. So yeah, I just wanted to, it's been a fun year, sharing all this with you, and I will
I
love.
think we'll squeeze one in between Christmas
And
New
this
Year.
pure like, yeah, I'm gonna miss you all.
I know.
We are gonna miss you. I am gonna miss you all, and wish me luck out there. I'm gonna be freezing and thinking about you all. So yeah, send positive vibes, and the way that you will help me or help us, if we have helped. If you've been helped and you liked any of these chats, please like and subscribe in the YouTube channel or in the podcast. And don't forget that we're still fundraising for the kids in Mexico. It's been a while since I don't mention it, because I hate to be that person. But we're still fundraising for them. They're doing great. We were able to deliver, or to, get, with the money that we sent the first half away already, and we were able to get them the hydration packs and a couple of trainers as well. So, and they are running. They're super happy. They sent me a couple. I will put the pictures
It's amazing,
here.
isn't it?
Just seeing their faces and their smiles just makes everything worth it. Like, it just made every of my struggles in the desert kind of like worth even more. Like, I know it's for me, but also like it has like a double meaning. So it's just really, really good. So yeah, we'll keep pushing for that, and yeah, hope to see you soon. If I don't get lost in the Drake Pass.
In the Drake Pass somewhere.
Keep the
I'll send
socials.
Shackleton for you.
Tania Shackleton. Next documentary. Don't lose it.
Remember, watch it. It's fantastic.
Fantastic. So yeah, I'll see you all when I'm back from Antarctica. I hope I'll be grabbing another medal out there, and I'll see you next year. If I don't see you before, have a wonderful couple of weeks. And remember to keep doing whatever makes you
Ultra
ultra
happy.
happy.